Welcome back to Trend Guards, where we break down the facts behind the shifting landscape of global tech infrastructure. For the past 3 years, the dominant industry narrative has been pretty straightforward. AI is going to be a frictionless, software-only cloud utility. But over the first 3 days of July 2026, that illusion totally shattered. We're looking at a sudden, unprecedented move away from pure software to physical, boots-on-the-ground engineering. Microsoft is officially pivoting, and it's a huge deal. So let's dive into exactly what happened, how we know about it, and why this fundamentally rewrites the future of tech. Let's lead with the most important fact of the day, sourced directly from Fortune India's July 3rd Global Enterprise Systems Report. Microsoft is officially deploying 6,000 elite human engineering specialists directly into corporate offices across the United States. And they are backing this up with a staggering $2.5 billion cash investment. We really need to strip away the hype here. This isn't just a routine software patch or some minor Azure update. This is an immediate, physical deployment of thousands of human engineers sent in to stabilize breaking AI infrastructure right inside corporate facilities. And the scale of this structural shift is just massive. Microsoft isn't just shuffling some staff around, they've officially established a completely independent subsidiary to handle this, called Microsoft Frontier Company. According to the reporting, this whole maneuver is operating under the executive leadership of Rodrigo Cade Lima, the former president of Microsoft Asia. Their operational goal is clear and documented. They're moving away from that traditional, hands-off software-as-a-service model and pivoting aggressively to physical, on-premise execution. Basically, they're sending in human armies to fix what pure code just can't handle anymore. To really understand why this is happening right now, we need to look at a pretty wild 72-hour industry scramble. On July 1st, NVIDIA rolled out their massive new AI factory infrastructure. Immediately, over July 1st and 2nd, Amazon Web Services committed a reported $1 billion to their own human engineering network. Then on July 3rd, the catalyst hit. Databricks published internal engineering logs exposing a massive hardware reliability crisis. And on that exact same day, Microsoft pulled the trigger on this $2.5 billion Frontier Company launch. So, this wasn't a slow, calculated transition. It was an absolute sprint. So you might be wondering, why are tech monopolies suddenly spending billions to airdrop thousands of engineers into cities like Chicago, New York, and Atlanta? What's actually happening inside these modern server clusters? Well, the answer lies in those Databricks engineering logs. When an enterprise trains a massive language model, that work has to be distributed across interconnected graphics cards. But Databricks found that once inference jobs scale past just 1,024 GPUs over a standard 30-day cycle, the mathematical probability of a critical hardware failure breaches 50%. The infrastructure is literally breaking down under its own weight. As it scales, its reliability just falls off an absolute cliff. And the really scary part is that standard automated software monitoring systems are entirely blind to what's going wrong. Databricks broke down 3 distinct, devastating physical failure loops. First, you have the hard job crash. That's a clean break where a physical component fails, a server node disconnects, and boom, the entire multi-million-dollar processing run locks up. Second are silent slowdowns. This is a thermal stress throttle bottleneck. Essentially, a single connector degrades, slowing data speeds and forcing the entire data center to wait, dropping performance to a snail's pace. But actually, it's the third mode that is really forcing Microsoft's hand here. Mode 3 is numerical corruption, and it is the invisible poison of modern AI infrastructure. According to the Futurum Group's analysis, silicon registers are suffering from minor voltage fluctuations. Now, these fluctuations quietly alter floating point digits inside memory buffers. The terrifying part for enterprises is that the system doesn't crash, it just keeps running normally. But it's actively poisoning the model's intelligence with corrupted data, turning a massively expensive run into absolute garbage without triggering a single system alert. And here's the kicker. You cannot fix a physical voltage fluctuation with a remote software patch. This is exactly why 6,000 elite human specialists literally have to be standing next to the server racks to tune the models and stress test localized hardware. Microsoft is fundamentally upending the cloud-only business model. Traditionally, the standard API approach was the legacy dream. Zero on-site presence, relying entirely on remote help tickets, automated software error logging, and strict single-vendor lock-in to platforms like Azure. But compare that to the newly confirmed reality of the Frontier Company human footprint. We're talking about 6,000 embedded engineering specialists operating directly inside client perimeters. They are executing proactive, on-site node stress testing to catch hardware failures before they corrupt data. It is a total paradigm shift from an unassisted cloud subscription to high-intensity, dedicated human intervention. And this next point is absolutely critical for understanding Microsoft's strategic playbook. The Frontier company is officially authorized for multi-model integration. That means these embedded engineers are deliberately building bespoke enterprise systems using models from OpenAI, Anthropic, or even open source weights if the client demands it. Microsoft realizes that the enterprise client doesn't really care about the brand of the mathematical model, they care about system execution. If a bank needs an open-weight model run on heavily regulated local hardware to meet financial compliance, Microsoft will now send a human team to build it for them. It's a highly calculated pivot to secure enterprise execution dominance, keeping competitors like AWS from locking up that physical layer. To truly grasp why this massive demand exists in the first place, we have to zoom out and look at the macro context. The physical data center is being fundamentally redesigned. We're moving away from experimental development labs to hyper-dense, continuous production engines. According to the official July 1st release from NVIDIA's press corps, they are unlocking AI compute at scale and actively partnering to power a massive infrastructure build-out. This validates a complete industry shift toward a revenue-sharing, multi-tenant AI factory model. These new facilities aren't like legacy web servers that just sit idle waiting for traffic. No, they are designed for absolute 100% utilization, continuously pumping out AI tokens on a global scale. To give you a staggering benchmark of just how immense this physical density is, NVIDIA highlighted infrastructure pioneers like Sharon AI. Sharon AI is currently deploying clusters of up to 40,000 NVIDIA Grace Blackwell GB300 GPUs in single environments. Think about that for a second. 40,000 next-generation GPUs acting as a localized massive compute power plant designed purely for high-volume, non-stop AI agent inference. It's truly mind-boggling scale. But this sheer scale exposes the ultimate engineering bottleneck. You cannot simply write a generic software script to connect legacy corporate databases to a 40,000 GPU Blackwell factory running at 100% utilization. It just doesn't work. The data pipelines have to be manually architected. The physical network fabric has to be finely tuned right there on location to avoid the thermal throttling we talked about earlier. And that massive risk of numerical corruption, it has to be countered physically, down at the hardware layer. This is the exact structural gap that Microsoft is spending $2.5 billion to bridge with their human engineering fleets. So, what's the big takeaway you should walk away with today? The launch of Microsoft Frontier Company confirms a monumental shift. The sheer physical scale of artificial intelligence has officially outgrown pure software. Big tech is finally admitting that keeping these systems from breaking requires raw silicon, physical security, and elite, localized human intelligence. What remains entirely unknown, though, is whether deploying armies of 6,000 engineers is a genuinely sustainable way to patch the inherent physical limits of these 40,000 GPU AI factories over the long term. Basically, can human scale actually match hardware scale? That is the multi-billion-dollar question the entire tech sector will be watching closely over the coming months. As always, we're going to continue to track the data and bring you the verified facts. Thanks so much for joining me on Trend Guards, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. It really helps the channel grow. See you in the next video.